I made this, bold prediction saying they won't be even in the top 3 by the All-Star break. Clearly, I was wrong.
Hey, you're not alone. I think so many people said, well, let's wait to see, but they're responding. And then they string together these incredible runs.
Hey, it's Casey. Welcome to AM Hoops. Very special guest. It is Kristen Kenney. She is the sideline reporter for the Utah Jazz and our very first guest, actually, on AM Hoops. We're trying something new here, Kristen, so no pressure here to you.
Okay, all the pressure.
Obviously, All-Stars were just announced, and Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell, to me, those guys were locks. Mike Conley doesn't get in, and he's a snub for me. I'm just wondering, what do you think his reaction to that is? What do you think his mindset is? Because for him, it's kind of old hat, right? 14 years, no All-Star, what do you got to do?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to actually think that his entire career, he never made the All-Star team. It's still just really weird to wrap your head around that. But he actually said the other day that he's tired of being known as the best bet to never make it. But it definitely stings. It's something that's the monkey on his back that he's been talking about and has wanted. So I just think it's definitely a snub. It's unfortunate.
And he will get his revenge in the postseason, I'm sure, so he'll take that.
I'll take that.
We've got a lot of Utah Jazz fans who watch the channel. And let's see, what day was it? I think February 11th. I made this big, bold prediction with the hot takes saying that here comes the tough part of the schedule, the first half of the schedule. They're going to see the Clippers and the Bucks and the Heat and the Sixers and everyone else, the Celtics, and they end up winning all those games. What was I missing?
Hey, you're not alone. I think so many people said, well, let's wait to see when they actually play the best teams, right? You're seeing the Jazz playing these great teams, and then maybe they're struggling a little bit, but they're responding. And then they string together these incredible runs, and all of a sudden they have double-digit leads just like that. And that's what's been really incredible during that stretch, to just see how quickly they can blow these teams out. You look at the clutch minutes and the fewest clutch minutes of in the NBA. And that Clippers game was down to the wire. And you see, at that moment, just how good this team is to be able to come back. But yeah, it's just been incredible this stretch to see just the high-flying offense, fast-paced, the consistent defense. Whew, it's fun.
Do you think we would see this if it wasn't for that heartbreak in the bubble? I mean, if Mike Conley's shot goes in, do you think they're at where they are right now?
Talking with this team, they say that that's the reason they are where they are right now. They're hungry. Donovan said it. He said he's never seen this team come into an offseason so determined. They took the bubble personally. He mentioned multiple times Royce O'Neal, who, by the way, does not get enough credit. He's very underrated player for this Jazz team, his defense alone. But, you look at him and Royce and the 3 weeks they spent in Miami this offseason working harder than ever. He said Joe Ingles, just the conversations that they've had. This team took that loss in the bubble personally. And that is what is fueled them, combined with the fact that they trust each other, they know their strengths, and they have continuity. So I think all those things have come into play, which is why this Jazz team is where they're at right now.
Yeah. So speaking of Donovan Mitchell, I can't believe I haven't brought up the Shaq thing yet.
You are one of my favorite players, but you don't have what it takes to get to the next level. I said it on purpose. I want you to hear it. What do you have to say about that?
All right. That's it.
Thought it was awkward. Thought it was uncalled for. What was it like behind the scenes in Salt Lake City? We were with the team every day. Tell us what it was like there.
Cringeworthy. Definitely was cringeworthy. And I just remember being at the game after that. I'm trying to remember what team we played after that now. It seems forever ago. And seeing Donovan's family in the stands and just looking over, talking to him what the heck was that? And everyone was just sitting there can you believe it? But this is Shaq being Shaq, right? This is Shaq I'm going to take credit. This is because of me. You're welcome, Jazz. But here's the other thing about Donovan is DON, his brand, right? Don shoes, Don, issue 1, issue 2 shoes, DON, determination over negativity. Donovan has said numerous times that what fuels him, the negative comments, not the positive comments. So, I mean, these negative comments, he likes it. He prefers it.
Let's get to some member questions. So, AM Hoops members, one of the perks is that they get to ask, I just determined this, you're our first guest, so here we go. First one's from Murphy. Who is the more valuable player to the Jazz, Rudy Gobert or Donovan Mitchell? Now, that's an impossible question for you to answer. So maybe I'll ask it this way. I'm going to help out Murphy. Who do you think?
Good.
Who do you think would get an MVP first?
I think the talk of MVP earlier during that big win streak was Donovan Mitchell. But it's a tough one. So I think Donovan would be in the running for MVP. But again, you can't do everything without Rudy Gobert that the Jazz do. It's like
it's impossible.
It's the toughest thing.
I know. From Nanny, how did you become a reporter for the Jazz?
Oh man. Okay. So rapid fire here. I majored in broadcast journalism. I played Division I soccer at University of Miami. And so I always knew I wanted to be a sports reporter and worked my way from a one-woman show, carrying all my equipment, to covering the London Olympics, having a show on NBC out in LA when I moved to LA. And then stayed in touch with Craig Bolerjack, the play-by-play announcer of the Utah Jazz. And said, hey, how do I become a sideline reporter for your team? And he said, hey, email my boss. I emailed his boss. They kept me in mind. 4 years later, the position was opening. And
wow.
I interviewed, and here I am, my 5th season with the Utah Jazz.
Okay, last one from David Para. How did COVID and everything that went on with Rudy and Donovan, how did that affect the team? And does it contribute to why they are so good now in some way?
I think adversity teaches you something, and going through adversity, and if you can go through it and beat it, you learn a lot. And they definitely went through adversity in numerous ways that season, whether it was the relationship with Rudy and Donovan, the experience with COVID, Mike Conley adjusting, and the expectations not being met. So I think adversity was good for them. And you can see that. And they've talked about that being a good thing. And coming through it now, you see that they're better than ever. So yeah, that was an opportunity to learn and to grow as individuals and to grow as a team. That was a tough time. That was crazy. I can't believe we're almost a year. It's coming up on a year stuck in Oklahoma City.
It is insane. It all started right there with Rudy Gobert. All right, well, Kristen Kenney, thank you so much for this. I really appreciate it. I'm sure the first of many guests, but an unbelievable season, and so happy to get some more insight there from you. Thank you.
Well, so awesome joining you. Thanks so much for having me.
See ya.